Hey guys, Jeremy Smith here, Citadel Development Services, and we're in Austin, Texas today looking at a new project we're getting ready to take on called Industry Soma. Now, what this project is going to consist of is 23 condo units spread out amongst 4 buildings, 2 stories. It's going to be a really cool project. Now, as you can see, there's already foundations in place. Well, we've been waiting a while to talk about this project. In fact, we've been working on this for about 3 months right now to get this project. And working on it meaning we were asked to come in and take over from another contractor. Now, we're not going to get into the details of why we're coming in after another contractor. That's for somebody else. But we are going to talk about now and in the future the process of what happens when you take over from another contractor. We haven't talked a lot about multifamily projects. This is actually our first foray into multifamily. We've done single family homes. We've done other projects that are multi-story, wood framed, other projects that are real similar in scope to a condo project like this, but we've never done it under the umbrella of a condo project. So again, this is gonna be a really interesting project for us. We're taking over, as you can see, at the stage of framing. In fact, that's the first thing we're gonna do is start going framing. We should be mobilizing here in about a week, and we're gonna start going vertical. We're gonna show you guys a lot of the process around this, since it is kind of a new project type for us. But listen, we're really excited, but here, come check some stuff out. This is another project that we are collaborating with Odom Studios on, right? Which is great. For us to be able to get comfortable coming in and taking over from another contractor, it was important for us to get to know the project quickly, the ins and the outs, the nuances, and get kind of brought up to speed really quick with everything, with where everything's at. As you know, projects like this, design can ebb and flow in the middle, decisions can be made. There's a lot of nuance, right? There's a lot of backstory. There's a lot of things that happen on a project that, again, it makes it even that more critical for somebody like us to take over, that we're able to understand what that is, okay? We were able to work with Odom and his team to do a good full handoff, information share on where everything's at, right? So again, I think out of every project that we've taken on, we've had the luxury, if you want to call it that, to have the time to dig through every nuance of this project. Decisions that were made prior to us, RFIs, submittals, all that information, we were able to get, synthesize, and again, not only make a decision to take over the project, but also build a plan for ourselves of how we're going to move this thing along and be successful from the standpoint of schedule, budget, and quality. One of the main things that we had to overcome with taking over this project is the fact that there's a lot of work already in place. The plumbing is already in place. It's already penetrating the slabs. It's already roughed in. Now, we are gonna use some of the same contractors that were previously signed up, right? Some incumbent folks, but we're also using new people. It so happens that we're gonna be using a new plumber. So one of the things we had to overcome was getting on site and doing a full investigation of the existing plumbing, right? As you can imagine, a new plumber coming in on a project that a separate previous plumber had installed, the underground water lines and what have you, there's a disconnect there, right? And sometimes that creates a conflict. So again, part of our process over the last few months was working with some new contractors to come in, do full site evaluation, test things, camera things, to make sure that where we're taking over from, people are gonna be comfortable with, they're gonna be willing to sign contracts, we're gonna be willing to maintain warranties, etc. So, but again, as you can see, plumbing, there's underground electrical already in place. So, a lot of the work that we've done over the last few months is just getting comfortable with what's on site. Do we want to take over the work that's here? And can we be successful with the project overall? Now, since we're here today talking to you, we have made the decision to go forward. We think that we can be very successful with the project. We've got a great group of subcontractors signed up, ready to go. We've got a great internal staff that's going to be committed to this project. And again, we're going to be excited to show you guys, weekly and monthly updates on the project. So we're going to show you some aspects of this project further in the video. But one thing you're going to notice is that this is a very tight site. Okay. It's a decent size, 23 units, again, spread out over 4 different buildings. But we are on a residential street here in South Austin that has a lot of stuff going on. No real, large road or shoulders or anything out front. When you look on site, you're gonna notice that there's not a lot of staging areas, right? So one of the big things that we've got to do from a logistics standpoint is decide how we're gonna phase the project. The first thing we've got to do at this point is bring materials in. We've got full lumber packages, we've got truss packages coming in, and there's not a lot of room on site, right? So we're gonna be very intentional and methodical with how we bring materials in with our framing partner to make sure that we can, make progress and not get in the way. Another thing, if you look around the site too, there's no place to park, right? We anticipate having 30 to 50 guys on site every single day. So we got to figure out logistically, where's everybody gonna park? There's some opportunities in this neighborhood. There's some opportunities here on site, but one of the biggest keys to success for a project like this is just how are you gonna get materials on site efficiently? How are you gonna get people on site efficiently and not disrupt the neighborhood, right? We don't want tradesmen and trucks and material suppliers, parking in front of people's houses in this neighborhood because they've got their lives to live as well. So we're gonna be really strategic with how and when we bring materials and labor on site so that we can meet our schedule. And by the way, we're gonna execute on a really aggressive schedule with this project. As you can imagine, the owner, anytime a project like this stalls, is terrible for the owner, right? It's costing them money every day that this project is not underway getting finished. So, right, we've got to hurry. We've got to get to this end date that we've committed to for the owner so that they can do what they're going to do with this project. So guys, I'm here with Chance, who is our estimator. And again, we've talked about what we went through, the process to go through, and just doing the due diligence to figure out if we even wanted to take this project. And then it was, okay, can we be successful with the project? Well, one critical element of that is the budget, right? Can we come in after another contractor, do a full site evaluation, figure out what's where, is everything correct? And then saying, okay, we've got a starting point, right? The number one question from the owner besides time is like, what is this gonna cost? Okay, what is it gonna cost to pick up where this thing is at and go forward and finish successfully? What is that gonna cost? And so Chance was a huge part of that. In fact, I would say he led the effort on getting our budget together, estimating all the nuances, all the ins and outs, bringing the contractors together. Again, this is not one of our commercial projects, right? This is a residential multifamily project. So it's different contractors, it's a different mindset. So Chance, what would you say your experience was in kind of picking up this project from where we picked it up to getting it to where it is today from a budget standpoint? Like what stands out to you?
Well, picking up a project with all the site work done and slabs poured was certainly something I had never done before. But yeah, we were lucky enough to have a great group of contractors that were willing to work with us. And like you said, I think the most important thing was just due diligence, getting out here and getting boots on the ground and seeing everything, and working closely with the architect. I think we're really fortunate in that sense on this specific project to have such a good relationship with the architect, Mark Odom, and the owner. And so getting to work side by side with them really, I think, was a big part of putting together a tight budget.
To get to a finish line that's going to make everybody happy. Like what do you think we ought to focus on?
Austin and those guys, make sure they're controlling that schedule. I think that's a big part of it. And I think transparency between us and the owner and the architect is huge as well, because a disconnect can really happen there especially when you're on these huge, massive jobs. Like, that architect and that engineer will draw that up, and it's just such a big project that, as time goes, and there's so many little details that things can kind of get lost in translation very easily. So I think maintaining that is big. Like how many times we sat down with Mark and Michael and being like, yeah, we got this detail, whether it be a steel fin or whatever it is, you know, this is a big costly item. Let's talk about the, you know, real world, do we want this? You know, and that's not always something you get, especially not in a big, you know, when we're talking about working with, you know, a REIT or some other kind of entity that's the owner. Not, you know, it's much different than working with one single individual owner. So I think that's a big part of it. But
and I think it's important to note that our client / owner, Michael, has done these kind of projects before. He's been in the Austin building scene before. He's very professional. He's very mature as a client. And so again, you know, like Chan said, that makes for a great partnership. And we've got Mark Odom, another person we've done a tremendous amount of work with. We know how they think. They know how we work. Again, that's probably the number one reason we considered taking on this project, is because of the team that was in place from the ownership and the architect. And again, we think that's going to translate into future success when we are handing off a set of keys to all the future owners of this project.